Hi, Asha. How are you?
I'm good. You are a familiar face.
Yes, we spoke for Darby and the Dead, I think it was. Great
Saw
movie.
me the day. Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, good to see you.
Yeah, well, great to chat to you again. And I'm gutted, by the way, they took that film off, I think, Hulu and Disney Plus, because such a great movie, and it's such a shame people can't find that one. But hopefully it comes back around some way, 'cause it's an awesome film.
Fingers crossed, right? I hope so.
Certainly hope so. But this film, fantastic movie, great performance from you and Owen. Such an interesting, kind of mysterious character. And I was saying earlier, talking to Ashley, we get thrown into this story. There's lots we don't know about what's going on about these characters. But did you talk
Right.
about Owen with Alec to maybe learn some of his backstory? Or was that something that was more on you to kind of figure out as you went?
Yeah, wow, that's a great question. Yeah, so obviously you don't get the major backstory of Owen in the movie. So yeah, that was something. I mean, Alec and I, we talked about a little bit of his backstory and how he got involved with this gang and losing his parents. But the rest, I mean, I kind of created for my character, and I think that did help really bring Owen to life the best to my ability. And also just talking with Alec, working with him, he's such a collaborative director. He's an actor's dream, seriously. So it was pretty easy just to create that backstory and play Owen.
Yeah, awesome. And this is a really one of those great self-contained stories. And obviously you've worked on much bigger movies than this one, but was it part of the appeal to come onto a smaller project like this and almost get a taste of that indie filmmaking and to be thrown into this world without, the franchise of it all, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I would. I mean, this is my bread and butter. This is my favorite. I love indies, and this was a very good indie. I'm very happy to be a part of it, and there's a lot of incredible performances in this film. It's a great cast. Cinematically, it's beautiful, and it's interesting. It's scary. It's exhilarating. I mean, there's so many things that Lazareth has, and I'm just really excited. I kind of want people to go into it not knowing much about it. But
Yeah.
that's just me. I love going into movies like that and just not knowing anything, and it's so fun like that. It's so fascinating and interesting. Makes it all the merrier.
Yeah, well, I can say as an audience member, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but that moment in the film, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It is a real mind-blowing kind of jaw-dropping moment, and I love that. And this is a very different, I think, role for you. And I'm wondering the tattoos and that side of Owen, was that an important part for you to really find who this guy was and get into the character?
For sure. I think it's the transformation. That's what helps us. That's what helps me really get into my characters, especially characters that are polar opposites of who I actually am as a person. So yeah, I mean, creating and finding Owen's identity really helped with that transformation, with the tattoos and the shaving my head, and I mean, I felt like a badass. I don't know how you could. It was really cool. It was a really cool project. So I really hope that people can see that through on the big screen when they see the film.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And you mentioned the characters earlier. They are obviously the real heart of this movie. And for you, working with Katie and Sarah, on the one hand, you've got a budding romance, on the other,
Yeah.
a combative dynamic. So what was it like to work with the two of them on and have that very different relationship with them through these characters?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Because you have Maeve who absolutely just I mean Owen and Maeve despise each other, so it seemed like there's always conflict when Maeve and Owen are around each other, and then when I'm just with Imogen, she's in awe by me, and I'm just flabbergasted by her because I've never met someone like her in my entire life. I mean, she really opens Owen up to the world, and through meeting her, he sees the world in a different view. And she really becomes his anchor, and then he falls in love with her.
Yes,
And the rest is history.
so
Young
enjoyed.
love.
Right, so enjoyed that, but then also, you've got Ashley Judd. She's a legend, and there's a great relationship there. I love that scene where she's so irritated by the noise of you eating. I thought that was a great moment. But what was it like to work with her and to learn from her as well? Because I know when I spoke to her, she said she really enjoyed being a mentor to the three of you and tried to give you some of the guidance she wishes she had had as a younger actress in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, this industry is crazy. It really is. So to have someone to mentor the next generation is so important, and luckily I've had that over the last few projects I've done with Helen Mirren and Ashley Judd and The Rock and all these other people. So to have that is, I mean, yeah, I mean, I thrive off of that. I love getting to sit down with people I look up to and just learn from them and gain some knowledge and wisdom. So yeah, she's incredible, and I've watched her work, everything. I mean, who doesn't love Ashley Judd? Come on, she's a superstar.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more there. And early on in the film, it's quite a physical role for you, not in terms of obviously action, but you're pretty beaten up, and you've really got to play into that as we see Owen in those early confrontations. So again, what was the challenge like on that side? I know you've done action with Shazam, but this is obviously a different kind of
Yeah,
dealing with that.
for sure. It was really cool, like getting because I got thrown into the mix 2 weeks. They were filming for 2 weeks already, so I kind of just got thrown into the mix. But it's kind of cool, like doing all the action for a change. I mean, getting thrown to the ground, Ashley just putting that shotgun into my wound, and I mean, it was nuts, like filming those scenes, and even that dinner time scene where I'm just being tormented by her, and oh, it was such a cool experience. I think every day it was just like something new. It was like this is the most fun I've had on the project and working with a character.
Oh, awesome. And when we talked before about this being an indie film, but having done those big budget projects as well, how would you say the challenges really differ coming onto a movie like this where, you like you said, you get thrown in the deep end, you maybe don't get that rehearsal time, and it's obviously a much
Right.
shorter schedule for you as well as an actor.
Yeah, I mean, I love the indie world, and I love it because I feel like I really get to focus on my craft and perfect my craft, and not be afraid to try things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how us actors get better. So just I think you get more opportunities to just like play with things and try things. There's less stress coming from a big, huge budget movie, especially a superhero movie. So I really like having that time to perfect my craft and get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking of Shazam, while I've got you, last year I think was a tough year for Marvel and DC. There's a lot of superhero fatigue talk. A lot of the movies underperformed last year, and unfortunately, Shazam, which I had great time with, I thought it was just as fun as the first one. It didn't do great, but then neither did Ant-Man and a ton of other movies. But were you surprised to see obviously the way it struggled and just the genre in general last year?
uh, Look, I think the superhero genre it's a really hard genre. And I hate when like because I know so many people talk about like superhero fatigue, but it's just if you make it, I don't believe in all that superhero fatigue stuff. I just think whatever DC or Marvel puts out there, and it's a superhero movie, and I mean, it's gonna resonate, and if it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I don't know why people put so much. I feel like a lot of the time they put so much pressure on like Marvel and DC. If like it's like every movie has to be amazing. But yeah, I mean the superhero genre, it's a hard genre for sure, and I'm just happy I had the opportunity to be involved in that world, which was wish fulfillment because I always wanted to be a superhero when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I know obviously there's been some huge changes with DC, and obviously James Gunn in charge of things now. And I know a lot of fans they would like, they love Zach in the role, but I know they'd love to see you maybe play that, adult Shazam, given that, you're not a kid anymore as you were in that first film. Is that something you'd like to ever do to go back to the role, or do you see that now as being behind you in some ways?
For sure. I mean, I'd always be open to going back to play Billy Batson. and I would never want to take Zach's place ever. I mean, we're in this together. So, but if there are any other characters out there in the future, I'd also be open to that. I mean, I'm pretty open, my friend. So
Yeah, well,
I hope there's a time and there's a place, and it'll happen.
yeah. Oh, were you guys ever clued in on like a Shazam 3 or crossovers, or did it never really get that far? Because I know it was kind of, hit and miss with DC with their plans, a lot of change of regimes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we always planned on making a third one, but when you have new people come in and take over, and plans can change and things can shift, and yeah, so I guess we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, well, I hope it comes back around for you. And there's always Marvel after all.
Yeah, thank you.
But back to this film, and I know I've read a statement from Alec where he said that he actually started writing this before the pandemic, which really surprised me because it's such a timely film. But as we've since all experienced one of those, did you find that informed your performance or your approach to this character at all?
From Alex writing during the pandemic. Is that a question?
No, so just your own experiences of the pandemic, what you brought to Owen that maybe you wouldn't have been able to had this, had we not lived through a pandemic.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great question. Yeah, I don't think wow, that's hard. I don't think I'm in the same mental state that I was during COVID. I feel like I really used that time as well to perfect my craft and get better while the world was shut down and these scary things were happening. So yeah, I think it definitely would have changed my performance probably because I'm not the same person. And I feel like I've evolved and I'm even better than I was. So I guess really who knows, but it's nice that we've actually experienced that and it's a real thing. It's not just a fantasy and this and that. I mean, pandemics are real and they're scary and they happen and there's more to come, I'm sure.
Yeah. So well, it is such
it's a lot more relatable now.
Yeah. It's definitely a film
Crazy.
you can relate to. And, Owen makes a big decision in the film, which I'm not going to spoil, but, to get into a headspace of a character like this, did you, was there any inspiration you looked to, or was it really just what was on the page that you could take and just extrapolate from that?
It's really, yeah. I mean, whatever was on whatever. I mean, it was so nice because I never really relied. Like I always showed up to set and like I knew a base or like a foundation of what scenes we were doing and whatnot, but I never went in expecting to do exactly that. Like I wanted to go in there, kind of feel out what makes the most sense for that performance, for that scene. So it's nice to go off script, like I said, and just try things. That's what's so cool about this indie world and getting to work with Alec. He allowed us to do that, and allowing us to do that really elevates us and helps us get better. So getting to do that was, like I said, I tip my hat off to Alec. He's the best. We love him.
Yeah, that's awesome. And as I said, a couple of times we do get to see a different side of you in this movie, which, whether people have seen you, we mentioned Derby of the Dead, but, there's Shazam, a lot of people are going to know you from, but this is something totally different. So is it important to you moving forward in your career that you do get to explore these different sides of yourself with projects, whether they're big budget, low budget, or just anywhere?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm like, look, as long as there's a good script and it's a good character, like I'm all for it. I want to tell meaningful stories. I don't want to just like, obviously I want to explore other genres, but I don't want to just tell, like, I want to do comedies, sure, yeah, but I want to tell like the real meaningful, like impactful stories because I want it to connect with the people that are watching it. I don't want it all to just be nonsense. I want it to mean something and I want it to be good.
Yeah, well, I've no doubt you will. And can you tell us at all what's next for you? Have you got any projects in the pipeline you can talk about on the horizon beyond Lazareth, which is an awesome film, but just looking
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have a project in development right now called 99 Days with McKenna Grace. It's based off of the best-selling. It's based off of the novel, so I can't talk too much about it. I hope it happens and it'd be awesome. So that's kind of what's next. And I have music coming out. I have a song coming out tomorrow. It's called Love Drunk. So yeah, I have a movie coming out tomorrow and a new song coming out tomorrow, and a lot of things in the works. So excited to be here and can't wait.
Awesome. Well, busy weekend for you, but Asher, thank you again for taking the time today. Because as I said, I thought this was an awesome performance in a really gripping film, which I think people got to see on the big screen because it's so engrossing and like such a good movie. So yeah, thank you so much.
I really hope people gravitate towards it. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Thank you so much for your time and good luck on the future as well. Looking forward to seeing what's
Thanks, Josh. I'll see you soon. I already know it.
Cheers. Thanks, Asher.
Cheers.